Okay, hello everyone, Random Gamer Riven here tonight in today's Monday night. No, it's not Monday, it is Tuesday night's weekday stream. Actually, I'll just turn up the music a little bit, as I think it was a bit quiet last night, the music. I'll just turn my mic up a little bit as well so you can hear me fully. So, in today's stream, I'm going to be looking at, it's Tuesday, let me get this right, it's Tuesday the 23rd, and we will be looking at the original Spyro the Dragon on PS1. Now, Spyro the Dragon was originally released in 1998. It was developed by Insomniac Games and it was published by Sony, although it was a joint conjunction thing with Universal, who had previously done Crash Bandicoot as well. In fact, both Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon were designed by the same designer. Just create a save file, although I'll be erasing this one at the end of the session, but I'll just create one for now. Now, Spyro the Dragon, released in 1998, was actually a vastly more impressive technically game than Crash Bandicoot, but before I say more, I'll let the cutscene play out.
It's been peaceful here in the 5 worlds, or is it 6? For a dragon's age. We now have 12,000 treasure, or is it 14,000? What about this Ganasty Gnorc character? Now I understand he's found a magic spell to turn gems into warriors for his cause.
I'll take that question. Nasty Gnorc is a simple creature. Simple? He has been contained in a remote world and is no threat to the Dragon Kingdom. No threat! Besides, he is ugly. That does it!
Looks like I've got some things to do.
Okay, and here we go with the start of Spyro the Dragon. So, unlike Crash Bandicoot, apparently this one had a pretty much custom-built PS1 engine that was purposely done by Insomniac Games. As a result, it's absolutely fantastic looking for a PS1 game. It really shows you what the PS1 could do. It really is well designed. It really does look fantastic as well. It does support analog controls, although they didn't use the left analog stick for the camera. I don't know why it took so long for studios, or the right analog stick, to use the right analog stick for the camera. It was just a bit weird, really. It was like no one thought, what can we do with this stick here? So many games did not only use one of the analog sticks. In fact, I think one of the earliest games that actually uses it for the camera angle is Alien Resuscitation, but there may be an earlier one. Now, Spyro, as you can see here, is an all-action platform. I mean, visually, it's vastly better than Crash Bandicoot. It's certainly a lot smoother playing as well. It really is. Spyro controls really well. There's lots of dynamicism in its animation. It's a very vibrant game, vibrant looking. I mean, it's just superbly made. If I actually have one gripe with the whole Spyro games, it's that they built the engine specifically for it, but clearly Insomniac unfortunately turned out Spyro 2 and Spyro 3 pretty quickly. As a result, there really isn't that much improvement over the engine seen in this one. So really, they're almost like expansion pack sequels, I felt, the sequels. But Spyro the Dragon really is a hugely impressive game, and kudos to Insomniac. It's just a shame Insomniac, much like Naughty Dog, didn't have the rights directly, so as a result both Crash Bandicoot and Spyro were then farmed out to other developers, and it's fair to say both Crash Bandicoot and Spyro have failed miserably when they've not been made by either Naughty Dog or Insomniac Games. I mean, people may say the new trilogy collections, but I would add the trilogy collections are based on Naughty Dog's and Insomniac's work. So I think it's going to be very interesting with the new game. So this really is a phenomenal looking game on the PS1, as I mentioned. It's superbly playing as well. It really is. It's just so smooth. So I'll just start running around. This is actually one game again where it was given a proper conversion in Europe as well. So it's almost full screen. You don't get any of the hang-ups you do with bad power conversions. It just feels so smooth. It's just really well done. I'll go rescue the first dragon.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. Free 10 dragons in the artisan world. Then find the balloonist. He'll transport you to the next world.
What about Nasty Nork? I'm going after him.
Find dragons first. That's all I can tell you.
Yes, so the aim is we've got to... Basically, there's quite, as you see, quite a cheerful story. I think this is the save fairy, isn't it? You can actually replay the dragon that you rescue, so let's go. This is another little chappie I think we can rescue.
Where's Nasty Nork? I'll torch him.
Keep your horns on, Spyro! You have much to learn first. Do you know what the dragonfly following you is doing? His name is Sparks, and he's helping and protecting you. Keep an eye on him and see what I mean.
Yes, I can imagine dragons are not fans of water in this. So it's fair to say Spyro the Dragon really is an impressive game. I would have been interested to see what Insomniac would have done if they'd been given a chance to actually work on the Sega Saturn, because the Saturn itself could have largely done games like this. Because the problem I always felt with the Saturn is because it failed so miserably in the United States of America, and at the time Japan was still struggling a bit with there weren't that many huge 3D games. The Japanese tended to still do a lot of 2D stuff at the start of the gen. And ironically, at one stage, even Kojima said he'd quite like to have ported Metal Gear Solid to the Sega Saturn. Of course, it never came, largely in part because I think at that point Konami had seen the sales of Suikoden, everything Castlevania. I think because by the time, I think the problem with the Saturn port of Metal Gear Solid is it wouldn't have arrived till 1999, which would have been after pretty much every other Sega Saturn game. But it would have been interesting to see what the Saturn could have done with Metal Gear. Because in theory, on paper, it's a better console than the PS1. Again, companies like Insomniac, I would have quite liked to have seen what they could have done. I'm just going to see, I know I can reach this jump here. So at the minute, this first world, we've just got to rescue the other dragons before we move on. I must admit, this is one of those PS1 games that you could easily have done a quick tart up and this, and it might even fool a few people to think it's an early PS2 game. It is an incredibly well put together game. Apparently one of the games in the Spyro the Dragon series is rather clever copy protection, where you get about halfway in the game and then apparently a character comes down. I think it's this. I think it's Spyro. Basically says, "Hey, you've been a naughty Spyro, haven't you?" So the balloonist will take us to the new world if we get 10 dragons. Okay, I'm just going to briefly pause it there a sec. Actually, I'll probably be good just to wait around a sec. Back in a sec. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see if the game... Well, no, Spyro Dragon could have been done on the Sega Saturn. It's just a case of whether they could have done it actually better. Admittedly, one of our commentators mentioned the other way, you could actually use the floor being generated by one, because the Saturn itself, of course, had 2 graphics processors, so you could have used the floor as the background layer, which a few games did do. Although whether it would be suited, ideally, for certain elements, I'm not entirely sure, because if it's like Mode 7, it's actually it was rather difficult to do hills in Mode 7, as Mode 7 was supposed to be largely flat. But you see here, Spyro the Dragon does play so superbly well, and it's a shame Insomniac didn't get a chance to do any more, because really the series deteriorated drastically when they weren't at the helm. In fact, it's arguably, you could say it's not really a Spyro game unless it's made by Insomniac Games. Now, some people may say, well, there's the new trilogy, but I would argue that the new trilogy is based upon Insomniac Games' superb work. So, now I have to admit, I do really like Insomniac Games. They have done some... I can go to another location. I might just explore this main area first before I jump to any of the other locations. Now, Insomniac Games did do some... Oh, there's a Stone Ridge as well. It's another easy one. But basically, Insomniac Games themselves did do some fantastic titles. They did the brilliant Ratchet and Clank series as well on PS2. And I do really enjoy the Ratchet and Clank games as well. I think they've done and subsequently did. But it's a shame they never did another Spyro game. That's largely, of course, these days they're owned by Sony. So it's a weird thing that Sony didn't buy up the IPs. But these days they're owned by Activision, so...
Cool, Flash. Do that again.
The Artisan's boss is through a portal in the Dragon Mouth. But you are not yet ready, Spyro. First you must complete one of the other Artisan lands.
Hello North American YouTuber, thank you and welcome to the stream. So I hope you guys are all enjoying our Spyro the Dragon stream. I'm just going through the opening worlds to show the start of the game. But I was just explaining that this is one game I would love to see what Insomniac could have done on the Sega Saturn. But I believe it actually had a custom-built PS1 engine, because it really does. I mean, as a PS1 game, it goes. It's really fantastic with the look, the design, some of the tricks there with the 2D, 3D. It's just a. I think for me, this is a vastly more impressive game than Crash Bandicoot. I appreciate Crash Bandicoot's a lot earlier game, but I think.
Hey, Spyro, press the jump button twice to glide. And don't be afraid.
Afraid? Of what?
Falling from high mountain peaks? Plummeting into prehistoric glaciers?
Oh, that.
There's actually some great voice acting in this as well. This has certainly got some great voice acting, along with some quite witty and quite funny kids dialogue. I can easily see why this was a very popular game. It was not. There's not really a lot to fault it. It's just a very well made game by Insomniac, and I do like Insomniac stuff. Probably more so than Naughty Dog's. The Uncharted are really good games. The Last of Us, they may be decent games, but the premise and story, I think The Last of Us was so bland and boring. I'm just sick to. I am sick to Kingdom Come zombie games, plague games, infested games, and if I'm being honest, releasing a game during the midst of a world event such as the current thing doesn't feel like the right time. You kind of want to play more cheery stuff like this as well. Yeah, the analog. This is one game you really do want the analog controls on. It really does make controlling it very smooth, and very nice. Okay, so I can get all the gems up before. Now he has got a look button. It's triangle. Stuff on the other side as well, so let's go the other way around. Interestingly, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot are both designed by the same character artist. Let's see if I can remember. I'll just grab his name again, because he was actually did a load of like kids and stuff from the 80s and 90s, and I was like, ah yes. Quite a few of my characters I watched as a child in the 80s were some of his designs. Charles Zembelius, I'm probably mispronouncing his name as always. Charles Zembelius, who did Spyro's designs. He also did Crash Bandicoot and quite a few other characters, and his designs are fantastic, I have to admit. And I also think Insomniac Games and both Naughty Dog with Crash Bandicoot brought those characters to life very particularly. The way they did them, it's just such a great combination in the end. I think it does tell you the... Yes, select, so it does tell me Stone Hills. The home I've rescued all the dragons. Let's see if I can get them all. I should do as I've previously played through. That's right, those ones need to be smashed, don't they?
When you free a dragon or step on one of their platforms, you're saving your progress. That could be useful if you run into trouble. Not that you ever run into trouble, Spyro.
Now this is actually very much an open world platformer. Very similar in many aspects to Mario 64. I'll just say the game there. I think the closest title on Saturn to this probably was Croc. And that of course got a PS1 release. And I must admit, as a title this vastly, I mean, Croc's a good game. Croc has a fantastic musical score, probably slightly better than this actually. Although they both have good music, I'm not going to mention Insomniac Games have really done some good titles over the years, so. But one of their games that got very much underrated was Fuse, and that was actually a really good third-person shooter. I think it probably interested me a bit more in some ways than games than the Last of Us, because that basically you had four-player co-op, and each character had different abilities. Was actually a really good game. It was, I think, very underrated. It got slated at the reviews at the time, and I'm of the mindset the main reason it was slated at the reviews is because there was some backlash over one of the Battlefronts. Because Fuse in itself is actually a really, really good game. So I never quite understood the dislike for it, unless some of the reviews were perhaps having a bit of a go at one of the Battlefronts. I think it's because one of the Battlefronts they'd all reviewed, they'd all given good reviews to, and then everyone of them subsequently turned around and said, no, it's a bit rubbish. And DICE as a developer, I have to admit, Insomniac Games have always made their titles very polished. DICE, on the other hand, have often rushed out titles to an extent where their games have been very unfinished. And as somebody who's...
friend, how about a hint on gliding?
You bet.
For the longest glide, press the X button at the top of a jump, and try pressing the triangle button to drop down in mid-flight.
So we've got the long glide. Oh, we're hitting the limits of the barrier. And we do have draw distance as well. Interestingly, the Sega Saturn actually has in quite a few games where it does, if you have a Saturn version and a PlayStation version, where a Saturn version LED usually has longer draw distance than the PS1, interestingly.
After you freed all the dragons, pass through this fancy vortex thingamajigger. It'll take you back to the artisan home. But first, let me tell you a story.
No thanks. See ya.
Okay, thanks for the like, guys. Nice to see you enjoying a quick look at Spyro the Dragon. I must admit, I'd certainly recommend the PS4 updates if you're a fan of the series or haven't played the series before and want to play. Try them out on modern consoles. They are still, although then Insomniac Games didn't do the updates, they were done by Toys for Bobs, who actually originally did Pandemonium on the PS1s and Sega Saturn. And as they're largely using Insomniac Games' original design, it all holds up well. Okay, so we can jump up to the... Okay, I'm still missing a dragon on this area. Okay, so now this is the exit area. I'm just going to check the other way. This is one of those games, if you speed run, you hold down. I think should have got everything in here. Yep. Okay, so we're going to have to head back to the other area and totally explore the airborne side. Oh, can we go down here? Oh, yes, we can. Threw me back up. No, I don't want to go back up. I want to go back down. I wanted to throw the dragon down there.
Watch the dragonfly, Spyro. His color indicates his power. When he eats butterflies, he stays strong. Like me.
Sure.
I need a key to get that, don't I? Still missing a load of... I assume all the gems are... So either there's loads in that chest or there's going to be a load up the top when I start exploring again. And also, I do like these old sort of the sort of Mario 64 open world explorative platformers that came around at this time. They were really good, and they sort of really gave a bit of a kick up to the old level structure. I still think that the level structure still works when done well, so but I would be the first to admit that both gameplay sort of styles do complement one each other. So there's this guy who got a key. Unless I get butterflies. Is it full strength then? A little dragonfly dude. Come on. Okay, that's a dragonfly egg. So wet. So where are the last of these gems I'm missing? Is there a key somewhere? I have to look for a key. Okay. I think I'll wrap up this stage in a second if I don't get the last of the... So I'm missing 19. I think one I need the key, but I've got no idea where that key is. Now, admittedly, in terms of the open world style of games, this is impressive, but I think probably the most impressive game I've played on the PS1 is actually the original Driver. That really is a hugely impressive, massively impressive title. It's how it handles the open world driving. Or no, Driver 2 to be exact. And the enemies come back, and we can toast them again. So let's head for Town Square. And look for some treasure. Yeah, I do like the whole fact dragons are stealing treasure as always. Yeah, I will say the camera controls are the one thing this game probably... And they could have easily rectified that if they'd just used the... No, not the right analog stick.
Welcome to Town Square, Spyro. Begin exploring by gliding to that area with the bulls. Use the L2 and R2 buttons to get a good look. Can I make the jump there? No, I'm going to go the other way round. Oh! I watched that drop. I must admit, playing this I have played this one a bit more previously than Crash Bandicoot, and I definitely prefer the spirals in terms of how they play and the controls. I think they just feel a lot more polished than Crash Bandicoot does.
Thanks, Spyro. I had the worst itch on the tip of my wing. Oh, did you know that you get your longest glides by pressing X at the very top of your jump?
I think if I had one slight criticism, I would argue that the camera is probably a little bit zoomed in and could be slightly further back on Spiral. Oh, we've got another little dude with the dragon egg up there, okay. found the exit quite early.
Spyro, did you see a man dressed in blue running around here? He's a thief, and he's stolen a dragon egg. You've got to track him down and get that egg. Run! Run! I'm getting a little winded.
Okay, so how do I get up there? Going that way, that's for sure. Okay, I'm just wondering if there's a higher jump power up something, whether I need to. So I can see the little thief, but I can't work out how you're going to get to him. Oh, you got to. Where did that thief actually go? He came through here. Let's see if I can catch that thief. So this guy's a good runner and a good jumper. Oh. Redraining his life, let's give another shot. Gotcha. That's what I'd see, we got the thief. Okay, right, let's grab the egg and then get back out. I assume there's thieves on those stages, so let's rescue the last. That's the start. So shoot, I've got to glide over the top there. Yep. And rescue the last. Probably find a few short. Hi Derek
Thank
Scott,
you for
thanks for joining the
releasing me.
stream. that character didn't... Ah, yes, we got 200 eggs. Brilliant. Hi, yeah, welcome. We're streaming the original Spyro the Dragon. For joking, we haven't actually done too many PS1 games, sort of the classic ones. We've done a lot of classic Saturn games, but not PS1, so I thought we'd do one of them. We streamed Crash Bandicoot yesterday, so I streamed Crash Bandicoot. And today I thought I'd do Spyro. Of the two I've mentioned, this is definitely my favourite in terms of how it plays. I think I much prefer this. Crash Bandicoot's a bit... I think this has aged much better than Crash Bandicoot. I'm going to say I think Crash Bandicoot plays a bit dated now. Okay, there's the mirror hall, which I haven't done, so let's... The one... I believe this is the last... The hollow is the last area in this world I need to do. And then I'll jump onto the boss. Those guys we've got to charge. I definitely think... I can't remember where the keys were. I think they were on... I did find them.
Oh, it's you. I wasn't sure if you'd escape those annoying little creatures. Of course, they wouldn't bother me, but here's a hint. Metal armor is fireproof, but a charge attack will take care of them.
Yes, as we just found out, Alaban. No, oh, he got me. They do actually, those ones remind me a bit of Kremlins from the Donkey Kong Country, I have to admit. You'll run those guys with the shields. Usually most of the dragons give you a little tip, a bit of information to help you play the game. I think the Japanese version was filled with additional signs to help you. They made a few changes in the Japanese version. We can light, nice little touch like that, we can light the wood. Again, Insomniac Games seem to have slightly stylised this, so the art's held up better in consistency.
Big enemies like this Gnorc with the club cannot be charged, but a quick flame, that should defeat them.
So we've got telling us a mix of some enemies we can charge and some we have to breathe fire on. And so we actually have 2 attacks. Nothing works. A mistiming little jump like that one, because that means I've got to redo it. So, oh yeah, I can jump off the edge there as well. got big stomach, so I got that dude we've actually got, I think, hit in the behind, so to speak. And there he goes. The mighty has fallen. Oh, so I'm looking for a key in that previous stage. I was going to say, I thought it was the keys we needed to unlock the chests with the padlocks on, as it's fairly self-explanatory. I must admit, for Insomniac Games, I really think this was the game that put them on the map. Although they did, they did 2 FPSs. I think it's Destructor and one of the others. We have got them.
Spyro, want to know a secret? Use the triangle button when you want to zoom in and look around. Oh, your secret's safe with me.
But I think this one really showed what they could do, because the 2 FPSs they did, they weren't bad games. I mean, they were decent games, but I just think this one was a far more impressive showcase of their work and what the PS1 could do. And there's the key. Hundred of 100. Okay, so just the Stone Hill one. I might quickly revisit Stone Hill, see if I can find where that key is I'm missing. Before I jump to the boss. This opening world's actually really nice, relaxing pace. So much like Crash Bandicoot, the game starts you off relatively easy. I don't think this is inevitably as hard. Crash Bandicoot definitely gets a lot trickier, but I think this one, I don't think gets as hard as Crash Bandicoot. I know there were some infuriating stages on Crash Bandicoot. This one seems a much more sort of progressive Mario 64 style platformer. Just have a quick gander in Stone Hill, see if I can find that missing treasure chest. Or the key for the treasure chest, I should say. Perhaps I should just double check the well again, where the chest was. And of course, if any of our commentators know, please do shout out. So there's definitely no... Okay, just a slight warning from OBS. Apologies if there's been any disconnecting. So disconnecting, reconnecting. I don't know if you might get a break in the stream. Again, oh, they're sealing it and everything. So it's got. We know where the key is. It's got to be. I think the key's on the top of the castle. Can we get on the top of the castle? I'm surprised the na guy comes back, despite the fact we've actually already defeated him and stolen and taken back the egg he'd previously stolen. Well, just seeing if I could jump on that. Okay, so I'll jump this way. So the key's got to be around here somewhere. So there's the thief, and as I've already taken back the key, ain't gonna have anything interesting. I guess we know it's not this side. I must have missed it before when I was searching. There's definitely nothing in the centre. I'll just burn some of the sheep in case one of them has it, although I don't think they will do. So this does suffer with the classic PlayStation warping issue, which just about every game on the PS1 had. So you have got texture popping as well when you're... It certainly gets less detailed the further you are away from it. I suppose that's an inevitable limitation of the PS1 hardware. So where is my key? Ah, that's what I missed before. You literally leap over the side into... So we've got a cave, we've got a cave. And we've got a mystical key, yes. Okay, so that'll give me 10, and I suspect I know where the last 10 are going to be. Yeah, I'm actually doing, although I previously played through this bit, I've not actually done everything on every stage, so nice to actually do that. Okay, so that's the whole opening world done, I believe. Yep, 4th. Let's go fight the boss. And of course we've got, as we rescue all the dragons, we should be more than enough ready to fight the boss now. And there we go. There's the dragon mouth opening, so of course we can battle the boss. I do like the stage confronting Toasty. There's certainly a lot of charm in this game and how the characters the enemies interact with the player. Something you didn't always necessarily see in the 3D games from this genre. So the way you can burn them and then they sort of go. Got to be a bit more careful. There's slightly more menacing boss music as well at this point. And guys, as always, if ever you have issues hearing me in the audio, please just give a shout out, or if you want to hear the music a bit more, just shout out. This is actually quite a nice game to stream, I have to admit. Ooh, we've got some. They do use the Spyro theme a lot in variants of it. I've been seeing with some of the stages, they definitely do hide some of the bonuses in slightly crafty places. So it's like Mario 64 in that you do have to really sort of expend a bit of time on each sector before you move on to get all the power-ups, find all the unlockables, and just find all the rewards on any stage. Oh, that's not going to be healthy for me. Spyro definitely doesn't like water in this. it's fair to say the dogs in this stage are more annoying than the boss itself.
Nasty Nork has put one of his most devious henchmen in charge of the artisan world.
Bring him on. I think I smell a barbecue.
Be careful, Spyro. This boss has many tricks up his sleeve.
Okay, despite the fact he says this boss has many tricks up his sleeve, having already beaten this boss, I know this boss is one of the most easiest bosses. The bath on it is a bit of a giveaway as well. There's a bit of a comedic moment at the end of this boss fight. It's not particularly hard, it's more like a troop battle, this boss. See there? It literally is a sheep on sticks, and so literally it's just breathe fire on the... It's... just the camera angle so I can actually see me breathing on the boss. And there goes the sheep. Now, this thing I had before, I could not find the last 5 on this stage. Refight the boss again. This game does have a great sort of comedic attitude to it, and this boss fight is very much that, with the fact that it's literally a sheep on... I think the dogs are probably the hardest part of it on this stage. They are probably the most annoying thing as well. Okay, I'm going to give that... I won't try and find out what the last 5 are. I'll give that a break there. In fact, I think I will pack up this stream for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as that has been Spyro the Dragon, the original one on the PS1. So that's the first world. So, in fact, all I'll do is just quickly trot off to the pier so we can see the second, actually go to the start of the second world. Go to the peacekeepers. Just briefly have a quick run around the second world before I finish this stream. So basically we covered the first hour of Spyro the Dragon. I think it's a nice thing showing off all the first world.
Welcome to Peacekeepers, Spyro. Look how our treasure has been turned against us and stolen. Recover our treasure, Spyro.
Collect treasure. Got it.
Yep, so we've actually got a few different looks. One of the things I do like about the remake is they did give all the dragons a very different look, because in this one a lot of them are literally using the same model with different colours, so they gave them a much more individual look. Remake, obviously in the original PS1, that's purely due to memory limits. As you see, the Peacekeeper world is very much a desert canyon, so you get a variety of stages in this. I think overall the original Spyro holds up well, both even now. I mean, it's still a fantastic game to play. It just still plays so well. Yes, it's got a few visual flaws from if you like the draw distance there, but it just everything works so well, and that looks like you're looking out onto an ocean. I think Insomniac Games did a really impressive job with the engine, and credit to them when they built this one. I think they subsequently did some really good games with Ratchet and Clank as well, and it's a shame, I mentioned Naughty Dog, that they don't still have the, because really it's Insomniac Games really were the heart and mind of Spyro the Dragon, and it's disappointing to see that all the games after that were made by other developers just weren't as good. But that has been this stream, so I'm going to finish there. I'm going to wish you a good night, a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening, wherever you are in the world. I've been your host for this randomised gaming stream, Random Gamer Riven. I'll have a think about what I'll stream tomorrow. I'm not sure what we'll do, whether I'll stick with the PS1. Maybe I'll stick to PS1 again this week. But there are, as you can see, even in terms of sort of power optimization, there are some games that have been properly developed by the developers to actually run properly in PAL. I think overall it's easy to see it's a very popular series. It's a shame it did peter out, Spyro the Dragon. I think perhaps it was mainly seen as he was more a kid's character, and certainly Ratchet and Clank are a bit more sort of aimed at teens, and they're aimed at sort of a bigger age group. Spyro may have been seen, I remember Spyro kind of got a bit left behind as people got older. He did reappear, of course, in the Skylander games as well, but certainly I do think the Insomniac Games developed titles are by far his best outings. Really, Insomniac really treated the character right, and I think without Insomniac Games, Spyro really isn't a dragon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you for watching tonight's stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, gone over the original Spyro the Dragon, so I do hope you've enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow streaming away, even though it's the midst of summer now, so we're getting a bit hotter. I will probably take a break or two in the next few weeks. I've noticed the streams are not quite as busy, especially during summer at this point. But thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all in the near future. In fact, I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Good night for now.